So this is going to be a small lesson about how to say I can't see something or I can't hear something. And we're going to be using the passive voice for this lesson. Now, if you're not very familiar with passive voice, it's probably going to be okay for this lesson. We're only going to be covering a few verbs. So we have 못 보다, cannot, 못 see, and 못 듣다, cannot listen. These literally mean you cannot physically see and you cannot physically listen. These are most often not going to be the verbs that you want to use when you say, oh, I can't see or I can't hear. You can also think of these words as having the same meaning as 볼 수 없다, literally to not have the ability to see, and 들을 수 없다, to not have the ability to hear. But when you want to say I can't see it or I can't hear it, you don't want to say it's because of that. You don't want to say that you're at fault for not being able to see something or not being able to hear something, right? If someone turns on the TV and the volume's at like 1 and you can't hear it, you don't want to say you cannot physically listen or I cannot physically see it, because you can see it, it's just not very visible, or you can hear it, it's just not very audible. To say this, we're going to need two other verbs, 보이다 and 들리다. Now you can think of these as quite literally meaning to be visible, 보이다, and 들리다, to be heard or to be audible. So to be visible, 보이다, and to be audible, 들리다. Going back to these verbs first though, 못 듣다 and 못 보다. If you're saying these, what you're saying is really, I'm at fault for not seeing something or not listening to something even. If you were to say like, I couldn't hear what you said, that would be like, it's my fault, right? I couldn't hear you. You know, maybe you actually are deaf and you can't hear. You could say, 못 들었어요. I could not hear it, or for some other reason. And that's like saying it's your fault. So keep that in mind. Using these ones is kind of like saying you're at fault, but if you don't want to say that you're at fault, you're just saying, you know, I can't see it. Like, hey, hold it up higher, turn it up louder, I can't hear it. Then you want to use the passive forms, because these do not place the blame on yourself. Instead, this puts the fault on whatever it is that you cannot see or whatever it is that you cannot hear. So if you say you cannot see the TV with 보이다, now you're saying it's the TV's fault, not mine. It is not visible to me. It's the song's fault, or it's the volume's fault. I cannot hear it. It is not audible to me. So let's take a look at these two sentences. First we have TV를 못 봐요. I cannot watch the TV. Well, maybe you're literally physically unable to see the TV, as in maybe your religion prohibits it, or maybe you just have no time. TV를 못 봐요. I cannot watch TV. I am so busy. I have no time. I cannot watch TV. Whereas TV가 안 보여요. Literally, the television is not visible. This would be the one saying, well, it's not my fault, you know? Maybe the TV's not on. Maybe you're blocking my view and I can't see it. Or maybe it's at a strange angle and I can't see it. Something like that. Before we go over this example, I do also want to point out something. Notice how we're using 안 and not 못 with these new verbs. You would not want to say 못 보여요. It cannot be visible. Instead, you always use this with the regular negative verb 안. So here we have 안 보여요, and here in our other sentence, 안 들려요. 그 소리를 못 들어요. I cannot hear that sound. Or 그 소리가 안 들려요. That sound is not audible, therefore I cannot hear it. The first one, this would be like you're saying, it's my fault. I can't listen to that sound. I can't hear that sound. But more think of it like listen. I can't listen to it. If I listen to that sound, it's going to hurt my ears. You know, I'm too sensitive. The second one, 그 소리가 안 들려요. This would be like the volume is too quiet. I can't hear it, or just the sound is too far away. Or I can't really hear it because I'm not really sure which sound it is. It's not distinct enough. Something like that. So you're not placing the blame on yourself, like with 못 들어요. You're saying it's not my fault. It's the sound's fault for not being audible. So I hope that this short explanation clears things up a bit. Let me know if you still have any questions in the comments. I do read all of those. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys again in another episode. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.